A specific lifestyle, devoid of individual or social identity, is being imposed on nations by organized and systematic destruction and humiliation of identities. Family, as the noblest institution of societies and its center emanating love and humanity, has been seriously weakened, and its destructive role is on the decline. Women's sublime role and personality as a heavenly being, a manifestation of divine image and beauty, and the main pillar of every society, has been damaged and abused by the powerful and the wealthy. Human soul has become frustrated, and the essence of humankind humiliated and suppressed. C. Political and security situation. Unilateralism, application of double standards, and imposition of wars, instability and occupation to ensure economic interests and expand dominance over sensitive centers of the world have turned to be the order of the day. Arms race and intimidation by nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction by the hegemonic powers have become prevalent. Testing new generations of ultra-modern weaponry and the pledge to disclose these armaments on due time is now being used as a new language of threat against nations to coerce them into accepting a new era of hegemony. Continued threat by the uncivilized Zionists to resort to military action against our great nation is a clear example of this bitter reality. A state of mistrust has cast its shadow on the international relations, whilst there is no trusted or just authority to help resolve world conflicts. No one feels secure or safe, even those who have stockpiled thousands of atomic bombs and other arms in their arsenals. The environmental situation, the environment as a commonwealth and heritage of the entire humankind and a constant guarantor of man's survival, has been seriously damaged and devastated as a result of irresponsible and excessive use of resources, particularly by capitalists across the world, a situation that has caused massive drought, flood, and pollutions, inflicting irreparable damage and jeopardizing seriously human life on Earth. Dear colleagues, despite advances in scientific knowledge and technology, the aspirations of Adam's children have not yet been fulfilled. Does anybody believe that continuation of the current order is capable of bringing happiness for human society? Today, everyone is discontent and disappointed with the current international order. Dear colleagues, human beings do not deserve to be under continued sufferings of the present situation. God of wisdom and compassion, who loves all human beings, has not ordained such a destiny for mankind. He has ordered human as the supreme creature to make the best and most beautiful life on earth, along with justice, love, and dignity. We must therefore think of a solution. Who is responsible for all these sufferings and failures? Some people try to justify that everything is normal and a reflection of divine will, putting the blame on nations as responsible for all prevalent vices and evils. They are of the opinion that it is the nations that succumb to discrimination and tyranny. It is the nation that surrender to dictatorship and greed. It is the nations that accept the hegemony of arrogant and expansionist powers. It is the nations that are influenced by the propaganda tactics of powers, and most all vices in our world are the result of their passive attitudes with the inclination to live under the supremacy of the world powers. These are the arguments raised by those who tend to blame nations for the unfavorable conditions prevailing in the world with the intention to justify the attitudes and destructive behaviors of the ruling minority. These claims, supposedly authentic, cannot in any way justify continuation of the present oppressive international order. Indeed, poverty is imposed on nations, and powers, ambitions, and goals are pursued either through deceit or resort to force. To justify their inhuman actions, they propagate the theory based on the survival of the fittest. While in principle, most governments and nations of justice-seeking people are humble and submissive in the face of right and are after fostering dignity, prosperity, and constructive interactions. Masses of people never want to expand their territories, nor do they seek to obtain legendary wealth. They have no disputes among themselves in principles and have never played any role in the creation of any disastrous events in the course of history. I do not believe that Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, and others have any problems among themselves or are hostile against each other. They get along together comfortably and live together in an atmosphere of peace and amity. They are all devoted to the cause of justice, purity, and love. The general tendency of nations has always been to accomplish positive common aspirations, reflecting exalted divine and human beauties and nobilities. The current abysmal situation of the world and the bitter incidents of history are due mainly to the wrong management of the world and the self-proclaimed centers of power who have entrusted themselves to the devil. The order that is rooted in the anti-human thoughts of slavery and the old and new colonialism are responsible for poverty, corruption, ignorance, and oppression and discrimination in every corner of the world. The current world order has certain characteristics, some of which are as follows. It is founded on materialism, and that is why it is in no way bound to moral values. It has been shaped according to selfishness, deception, hatred, and animosity. It believes in classification of human beings, humiliation of other nations, trampling upon the rights of others and their domination. It seeks to expand its domination by spreading discord and conflicts amongst ethnic groups and nations. It aims to monopolize power, wealth, science, and technology for a limited group. Policies of the world's main centers of power are based on the principle of domination and the conquering of others. These centers only seek supremacy and are not in favor of peace and definitely not at the service of their nations. Are we to believe that those who spend hundreds of millions of dollars on election campaigns have the interest of the people of the world at their hearts, despite what big political parties claim in the capitalist countries? The money that goes into election campaigns is usually nothing but an investment. In such countries, people have to vote for parties that only represent a small number of people. The will and views of the masses have the least impact and influence on the big decisions, especially those made about the major domestic and foreign policies in the United States and in Europe. Their voices are not heard, even if they constitute 99% of their societies. Human and ethical values are sacrificed in order to win votes, and the willingness to listen to the demands of the people has become only a tool at the time of election. The current world order is discriminatory and based on injustice. Distinguished friends and colleagues, what should be done and what is the way out of the current situation. There is no doubt that the world is in need of a new order and a fresh way of thinking, an order in which man is recognized as God's supreme creature, enjoying material and spiritual qualities, and possessing a pure and divine nature, filled with a desire to seek justice and truth. An order that aims to revive human dignity and believes in universal happiness and perfection. 3. An order which is after peace, lasting security, and welfare for all walks of life around the globe. 4. An order that is founded upon trust and kindness and brings thoughts, hearts, and hands closer to each other. Rulers must love people. 5. A just and fair order in which everybody is equal before law and in which there is no double standard. Leaders of the world must regard themselves as committed servants of the people, not their superiors. 7. Authority is a sacred gift from people to their rulers, not a chance to amass power and wealth.